are poi, by the way. I am Miss Tangles. I am a wolf trap teaching artist with UTC's Arts-Based Collaborative. So, I'm also a flow artist. When I say flow, what do you think of? What about if I say flow while moving this feather? Just watch the feather move. How would your body move if you were moving like a feather? We've got our feather and it's nice and light and soft. So you might want to use your hands. You might want to use your body. You probably wouldn't want to stomp around because that's more on the heavy side. It's not very light like a feather. So let's explore some movement and see how we feel. If you were a feather, how would you move? You might want to move your hands. Remember, you're light and fluffy. You might want to go down. You might want to be a bird. Ta-da! How did it feel to move like a feather? Well, now that we've experimented with flowing with a prop, let's actually experiment with flowing with our body. Now, flow can be adapted for everyone, any abilities. So on this next activity, you can use your eyes. You can think about each body part that we're doing, or you can just follow along with me. So today, I'm going to be using my hands and pretty much my whole entire body, even my feet. So let's start by our head. So if you can touch your head, tap your head, or wiggle your head. And how about our shoulders? Tap or wiggle your shoulders. What about our knees? Tap and wiggle those knees and toes. Now let's try that again. Tap, wiggle, whatever you want to do. We're going to start with our head, shoulders, knees, toes. And we're going to do that again, but we're going to come back up. So we're going to go down and then up. So we got head, shoulders, knees, toes, knees, shoulder, head. Shoulder, knees, toes, knees, shoulder, head. We also just created a pathway. We went from our head down to our toes. So we went down and up. How about we explore around and around? So for this, we can use our finger. I call it our magic finger. So our magic finger, whenever you draw or trace with your finger, imagine it's like a paintbrush and you see a line of paint and maybe it disappears after that. With your finger or your prop or your eyes, can you show me how you would draw around and around? Maybe this will help you out. We got a mini hula hoop. So if you need help, take your magic finger and trace the circle. If you make sure you hit all points of the circle, that is going to be our around and around. Around and around. Around and around. That was pretty easy, but let's throw something more difficult in there. How about this? Still a hula hoop, but it is a little different. Is it same or different than our last hula hoop? Well, if you guessed that it was bigger, you are correct. So let's try our around and around with our finger or our prop with the bigger hoop. Around and around. So with a bigger surface, our pathway is going to have to be bigger, so our body will have to move a little differently than the smaller hoop. Now that you have that, we are going to have a start and an end point. So with the pathway, you want to have a starting point and an end point. So let's say our start point is right here at the bottom of the hoop. We're going to go around, and that means what? Our end point is at the bottom of the hoop. Also, around and around. Maybe we can try our up, down, down, down with our around and around. How will we do that? Let's try it first with our smaller hoop and maybe a ruler. So, we are going to have our starting point here and trace the ruler up and trace the ruler down. So, I'm going to show you with your finger, up, down, and around. There's a song there too, so you can join in if you want. Starting point at the bottom, we're going to go up, down, and around. Up, down, and around. One more time. Up, down, and around. Up, down, and around. Now that we've explored different pathways, are you ready to take it to the next level? Let's make some room first. Okay, so now that we've explored different pathways, we've got our up, down, and around, we're going to do something a little bit more fun. So here we see the word flow. We have an F, an L, an O, and a W. We are going to use this flow to flow. We are going to be tracing with our fingers or our prop, each letter. This will be our start point, and this will be our end point. So let's start with F. We have F here. If you were to trace your F, we have our up and down pathway here. So I noticed a problem. We have up and down, but we don't have a pathway for our other two little characters here. Let's bring back out our hoop. If we have up, down, and around, what if we turned our line this way? And now we have side to side. So we just solved a problem. So let's try it. We have our up, down, and side to side. Now for our L, can you guess what we'll need? That's right, we'll need our up and down pathway and our side to side pathway. Now we have O. This one's probably pretty easy. This one's going to be our around and around. And we have our W. And I think we're just going to need a up, down, down. So let's try to trace it together real quick, just to make sure we have it. So we have our starting point here, we have our F, and we have our L, and our O, and we have our W. Perfect. So now it's time to put it all together. Maybe we can put it all together to some music. So, like I said earlier, you can flow with your body, you can flow with a prop, or you can flow with a friend. And I actually have a friend here.
Hi, Miss Tangles.
Hello! So, if you notice, she's flowing right now. She is flowing with her fingers and her prop. Her prop is a guitar. So, we are going to practice our flow, and you're going to help us out a little bit.
Great.
All right. So, will you play us something that reminds you of a feather?
Light as a feather.
Light as a feather. All right, so let's do our flow like a feather, and we're going to use our tracing. So just follow me. Have our F and our L. And we're just nice and flowy, light as a feather. And then our W. And we'll go back around to our L and our F. Voila! You just flowed with a prop. Let's try it over again. Maybe something opposite of the feather. And we'll start from point A to point B, which is really F and W. What you want to give us something that's something heavier? Yeah. All right. Let's try to flow again with something strong and heavy. There's your F and your L and your around and around. And then we have our W, and we'll go back that way with our round and around. Our L, and then our F. And you can practice that on your own at any time. You can find things to trace. You can find things to flow with as like a prop or a feather, anything at home. Or you could even flow with just your eyes. Thank you so much for doing some music for us.
Thanks for letting me.
That was super fun. I hope you practice more flow and find different ways to flow.
Funding for lessons featuring Wolf Trap teaching artists is provided by Lyndhurst Foundation.